Hello everyone, my name is Wayne.
And I'm Rebecca.
And we are your Bourbon Journey. We recently went to the Jim Beam dinner out at, of course, Jim Beam. And we ran into a really nice couple and we had a discussion about a place called the Neat Bar and Bottle Shop. They were talking about how they had recently tasted one of the old gold foil wild turkeys and showed us a picture which made me really excited. They also mentioned there was something there that I was looking for, and that was the Wild Turkey 12. So why in the world do I have a Stagg here? Well, we walked through the shop, couldn't find the Wild Turkey 12, did try it, and decided one last time to walk back into the old bottle shop part and see, well, maybe it's there. Well, we didn't find it. As we're getting ready to leave, we turned and saw this on the shelf.
I heard the guy at the cash register talking to the person in front of me saying, yeah, those are limit one per person. You can pick from which one you want. And I didn't even notice what he was talking about, but then I saw this big orange sign, limit one. And lo and behold, here was a Stagg bottle. And we've never even seen a Stagg in the wild before.
Nope.
We've never seen a Stagg at Buffalo Trace.
No.
We've just never seen a Stagg before, except we did do a tasting event at a bar one time that had Stagg as a small little taste, and we were honored at a friend's house. They let us taste their Stagg. So that is our only experience with Stagg, and you all know we have quite a few bottles and been doing this quite a long time. So when I looked at it and saw that the price tag was $99.99, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm grabbing that. So I didn't even know what it was. I mean, I knew it was a Stagg, but I didn't know what edition it was. Should I get it? Has it got a good review? I didn't care because we didn't have one. So,
Nope.
So let's talk a little bit about, now that we got it home, I can tell you a little bit about which one it is, which is kind of interesting. So this little gem is Stagg 24D. What makes that special? Well, they usually only release A, B, and C. In fact, this was bottled in December of 2024, but not released until January. It is, of course, a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey made by the Sazerac Company and distilled at Buffalo Trace Distillery. We do not know the mash bill. We also do not have an age statement, although it's typically rumored to be around 7 to 9 years old. The proof on 24D is 127.4. The MSRP is typically listed at $70. It is barrel proof and unfiltered. As noted by Wayne, we did purchase this on February 21st at the Neat Bottle Shop in Louisville, Kentucky on Bardstown Road for $99.99. We're excited to finally try it and have a bottle in our house, and hope it doesn't let us down.
And because of the fact that this is the first Stagg we've ever found, we're going to leave that $99.99 sticker on there because it was very unbelievable to have found it how we did and finding on my 59th birthday. Didn't get my Wild Turkey 12, but this will suffice, and this is pretty exciting.
So let's take a look at the appearance of it.
Okay.
It's somewhat dark. I call it a medium mahogany.
I would agree, medium.
I mean, I've seen other Staggs. Of course, the George T. Stagg is part of BTAC, and those are always a little bit older. But I think our friend had one that was a little bit darker than this, but I'm not having an issue with the color.
Well,
It's got some legs forming, not super thick legs, but we'll see
No.
if they evolve while we're doing
mine's
this.
more of a rim, but anyway.
Let's go ahead and check out the nose.
Oh, it's cherry.
Yeah, and I've always heard that Stagg is very cherry forward. It's definitely cherry. Cherry and brown sugar.
Yes.
It's almost like stewed cherries, right? Stewed in brown sugar, I mean.
Well, I'll tell you this: you drink enough of this, you'll be stewed.
Mm.
It's
pretty.
It is, and it is cherry and it is brown sugar, and it goes back and forth. I'll pick up the brown sugar first, then the cherry, and then I'll pick up the cherry and then the brown sugar, and it's just bouncing back and forth.
And the other thing I was noting was that I'm just sticking my nose way in there and taking a really deep breath, and at 127.4 proof, it is not burning my nose at all.
No.
We have had this open probably about an hour. Opened it up and then got called away to do something else, so then came back. So it got a chance to open up a little bit. Well, shall we go ahead and taste it and see what it's all about?
Now we'll just let it sit here.
Cheers to our first Stagg.
Cheers.
I'm still getting the cherry, but it's a much darker cherry than it was on the nose, not as sweet.
It's a very sweet cherry.
Oh, you're still getting a very sweet cherry?
Yeah. For myself, it's almost cherry, and there's a little bit of chocolate.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna need another sip. Yeah, I'm getting that dark chocolate note now.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of, it's almost more of an allspice than a cinnamon. It's got a little bit more happening on the spice.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I'll let you take a sip.
And the cherry. And then the other sweet, I still think it's a little bit of like a dark brown sugar, almost molasses-like.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really a caramel to me.
There's no caramel in this.
Mm-hmm.
No. Shall we go ahead and try to get the finish?
Yeah, let's take another sip. Darn, so we can test out the finish. Each layer gives me a little bit more. I almost got a hint of clove on that one. So the allspice was shifting a bit for me as on the palate. The finish is definitely long.
It is. It's not hot. No, it's not a burn.
It's very warm.
It's very warm going down. I can actually feel it right here, right near where my microphone is. This is cherry to me. This is dark, rich cherry. I think allspice is a really good call on your part. Chocolate, maybe just a slight hint of coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm getting a little bit of almost coffee grounds, a really dark, deep roast coffee with it, and almost with the mocha piece. The chocolate's kind of going mocha for me with that coffee note, and I'm getting a little bit of maybe leather.
I'm not getting leather.
And that just happened while you were talking. I hadn't gotten it before. I'm not getting any citrus notes. I mean, the cherry just hangs on. The brown sugar that gets rich and not quite caramelized, right? Then the ending note with the dark coffee and chocolate, it's like a really nice mocha.
I'm getting now just a tad bit of the barrel, but I don't think it's that old.
Yeah, I mean, they say probably 7 to 9 years. So you're getting some barrel notes, some char in there, but it's like a very light leather. I'm not getting like a tobacco or anything like that, but it's a light leather where you know it's had some barrel time, which is pretty good.
Yep.
What do you think about it overall?
Overall, well, for $100, it's definitely worth it because we've been burned spending more money. I would definitely, if you're out in that area and you're seeing this video right now, I would go to that store and see if they have one. It's definitely worth getting one. As much as I like it, it definitely does not make me want to seek out more Staggs. So.
Yeah, and I watched a couple reviews yesterday just to try to see if anybody had gotten this, because it was such a surprise release. And it was funny because some of the YouTube folks were like, well, I already did my comparison of ABC. Now this came along. What am I supposed to do now? So it's kind of funny. But several of them thought this, the ones I watched that were doing comparisons of the various versions this year, most people didn't like A and B very much.
Okay.
And they'd all like C the best. And they felt that D was just edging it out ever so much. I mean, it was like they were really close together, but D was a little bit better. So darn, we only got our first one. It happened to be the best one of the year, according to everybody else.
Well, it's funny. And I can understand why. I can also understand. I mean, it's not exactly what I would normally pull out, but I can really understand why people would like this and would be trying to seek it out. I'm glad we have one. Would I buy one in the future? Maybe, but I'm not exactly pining.
Well, yeah, I think we got it. I think for me, if I found it at a good price,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I think typically people say anything under 125 is a really good price for a Stagg. So I would probably consider another edition of it just to try it and get it, because it's got these great cherry notes that I really, really love. It does, and I'm just thinking now, I'm gonna have another little sip here. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I will join you just to get
Because I just had a thought about the brown sugar almost turning to, it's just shy of going to butterscotch. Just shy. It's not reaching that butterscotch note, but it's just short of it. And it tells you it wanted to be that, perhaps. But I felt like it was lingering in my palate, and I wanted to go check it out. So it's not really butterscotch for me, but I can see where it's getting kind of close to that.
The one thing I will say that I really am intrigued by it, it's for the proof that it's at.
Mm-hmm.
It does not drink it. This, if I were in a blind and guessing the proof, I'd probably say 110, 115. And I think this is like what, 127?
127.4.
Yeah, this does not drink 127. So this kind of falls into the yeah, you better really be careful, because you could start knocking this down and wake up tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it probably drinks about 10 points lighter, maybe around 117 for me. So maybe I feel it drinks a little hotter than you do, but just from a complexity standpoint, I think that barrel proof, uncut, unfiltered thing is making it has some layers. I like it.
Well, I will say this, you know, now I probably should attempt to start looking for Stagg, because if I find Stagg, I will run into my Kentucky 12. You know, so Buffalo Trace, this is a good one. And if you haven't gotten it, if you find it and have an opportunity to get it, grab it. It's definitely worth it. And for this price, I'm glad we have it. Cheers to all of you. Remember to always drink responsibly and subscribe and follow what we do. Cheers.
Cheers.